House Republican leaders are preparing to release their tax plan on Thursday after numerous delays, but in a late switch, they now say the initial version of their bill will not contain one of President Trump's major promises. House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Kevin Brady Artex said Wednesday the bill he will introduce would not permanently lower the corporate tax rate to 20%. Instead, Brady said the bill would temporarily cut the corporate rate to 20% but that the reduction would expire in less than 10 years. Brady said he had to make changes to keep his upcoming bill in line with rules Republicans need to abide by if they hope to pass the measure through the Senate without Democratic support. He added he hopes to make changes during negotiations with the Senate at some point to make the cuts long-term, but at this time he is unable to propose a permanent cut. It's going to take several steps through the process to achieve permanence on the corporate rate, Brady said, citing what he termed those awfully funny Senate rules. It's a jarring shift, as Trump has frequently touted the importance of lowering the corporate tax rate, and the White House has been promising companies the reductions would be permanent. Two members of Brady's committee, who spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the deliberations, confirmed the change to a temporary reduction. The corporate tax switch is the latest turn in a tumultuous rollout of the House tax measure, which was previously slated to be introduced Wednesday but is now planned for Thursday. Brady spent Wednesday briefing colleagues on the legislation in the hopes of resolving differences. But the day took a different turn, as Trump interjected a previously rejected idea into the process, and certain lawmakers from New York and New Jersey refused to accept a compromise. Trump on Wednesday called on Republicans to add a provision to the tax bill that would repeal part of the Affordable Care Act in a way that he said would allow them to cut more taxes. Trump's comments came in a Twitter post and were posted a few minutes after Senator Rand Paul RKY mentioned the same idea on Fox News. The House and Senate should consider ASAP as the process of final approval moves along, Trump wrote on Twitter. Many House and Senate Republicans have said they want to repeal the Affordable Care Act, but they have failed several times in the Senate, and some expressed concern that Trump's new idea could end up overwhelming the delicate discussions they are hoping to complete by the end of this year. 3 Republican members of the Ways and Means Committee and the GOP leadership aide, speaking on the condition of anonymity to describe internal deliberations, said that there has been serious discussion about including the individual mandate repeal in the tax bill. But they said that the committee is divided on the issue, and that it is unlikely to be included in the initial draft. Including the repeal, which was estimated by the Congressional Budget Office last year to create $416 billion in deficit savings, could allow the tax writers to accomplish other goals they would otherwise have to reject for fiscal reasons. But given that the CBO also projected the provision would raise insurance premiums and lead to 15 million more uninsured, it would inject a potentially explosive new element into legislation that is already on a political tightrope. I can't imagine why they think that helps, said Representative Charlie Dent Arpa, who has been supportive of the tax bill but voted against the recent GOP efforts to repeal the ACA. Everything has moved way too far beyond it to throw anything, healthcare, related into the mix right now, said Representative Chris Collins RNY. We don't need another complication. Trump's Twitter post appeared to be more of a passing idea than a strategic change in policy, as White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders dismissed it several hours later, saying the Trump administration was focused on passing the tax cuts and any changes to the Affordable Care Act separately. We are focused on pushing through tax cuts and tax reform separately from healthcare changes, she said. Brady has kept many of the bill's details under wraps, but broadly, Republicans aim to slash the corporate tax rate, simplify the tax filing process for families and individuals, and create a new system for taxing what businesses earn overseas. Republicans are trying to design the bill in a way that adds no more than $1.5 trillion to the deficit over 10 years, but this is proving problematic because they have promised more than $4 trillion in cuts and failed to identify many ways to recoup new revenue. House Republican leaders have pressed the White House to help them in selling the tax cuts politically but to stay out of the negotiating process, worried that interference could scuttle progress. Democrats are also preparing for